show. This week we will be taking a look at one of my favorite ribs. Of course, my favorite ribs are ribs, as in the ribs that are the ribs of an animal. So that's what we'll be cooking this week. If you'll come with me over there, we'll go over the process of making ribs. So the first thing we want to do is prep our ribs. You'll notice a few things right away. Number one, I'm much shorter than I was yesterday. No, I'm not. I'm closer to the ground so that we can get a better shot. And number two, Kitchen Wizard is going to be helping us out for this entire episode. Anyway, if we could now cut to other me. He is currently prepping the ribs, so to you. So, first we have to do the rubbings. So, we're here with Kitchen Wizard this week to teach me all about food that I know nothing about making. Unlike calzones, I have never touched ribs before. Second thing, kitchen paper.
Oh my gosh, almost fell.
Dad, do you want to review this again because I didn't have my earbuds?
Yeah, you want to use butcher paper when you're working with raw meats, especially. You want to work with butcher paper or kitchen paper. This is kitchen paper, also known as freezer paper. It's got plastic on one side and it's kind of smooth on the other, but it's paper-like. And the reason you use it is so that the harmful liquids don't leak out onto your countertop.
Third thing, we've got this camera that stopped recording spontaneously last time when we want to make sure that doesn't happen again. It's so you can see our hands doing handy things. What are we doing?
Well, first you have to understand what you're working with here. So you want to make sure that you salt it correctly. You want to make sure that you're keeping it basted enough. And then when this cooks, the fats are going to mix with the meat, break down some of the proteins, and make it nice and tender. So what we're going to do first is we're going to turn them over to where the hard part is facing up. This area here is called silver skin, and when I slice this open, you'll see. I'll slice mine first, and then Isaac will slice his. Look at me not being able to use it.
Meat juice, isn't it?
Well,
It's called blood. It's called meat juice.
pork is one of those volatile meats that will poison you if you don't do it right. Have an open trash can ready for you.
You should have had Kitchen Genius do that.
I'm just going to let this drip just a second.
Yummy.
That is some very red meat juice.
Oh my god.
That's called blood.
Yeah, that is called meat juice.
Blood's getting ready to drip.
Alright, so you're gonna...
Oh, it's dripping.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna want to back away with the camera. Don't be afraid to zoom. Zoom and pan are my two best friends, and you don't do either of them. We are getting meat juice all over the table, and I'm sorry. Yes.
This is why he's not kitchen genius and I am.
We're gonna let it drip because that's what you did, so it's
That's
probably
way
right.
more blood than Dad's.
You mean meat juice?
Yes,
Now.
that's what I meant. Look at the meat juice.
It's very brown, isn't it?
No.
Oh, no, look at it. It's actually red.
Yeah,
It's actually red this
Oh my
time.
gosh.
Very cool.
No,
Wow.
That's very orange though.
So, if you turn these over, you'll see that you have...
Why is it?
Oh, no, dripping.
It's fine, don't worry about it. So, as you can see when you turn it over, you've got an obscene amount of fat on top, marbled fat on the bottom, and a nice piece of meat here. This right here is where the loin was connected. And this area right here is called silver skin. It's very, very slimy and smooth. And what you want to do is remove it. A lot of the times they already have it to where you can grab a piece, and it's a pain in the neck. But it should typically just pull off. Once you get a really good hold of it, you just pull it off. This is why you want a very dull knife, because, and a lot of people actually use spoons for it, because if you get a sharp knife, you'll end up with little bitty chunks of the silver skin.
This is...
There we go.
Just want to point out that this is probably the most informative that Isaac's cooking show has been and ever will be.
Oh.
The average slaughterhouse is going to go through like several hundred pigs in a day. Here's the part where my version varies from other people.
Ooh, we're getting spicy here.
See, I like to mix chemistry with cooking.
Please note the Kitchen Wizard is a wizard, but he is not a chemist.
I am not a chemist. We're going to sprinkle salt. You're going to let it sit for probably 30 seconds or so, and then turn it over and do it on the other side too. We're going to put a dry rub on, but we're going to put like a tablespoon of vinegar in. It doesn't take much. And you want to use apple cider because pork is a sweet meat.
Wait, how many was that?
3, I think.
I can't...
No, put another one in.
Sure, why not?
You know what? He said 4... if we're feeling
Each
it.
rask. That was 5.
So then 6.
Salt. Bam. Now it doesn't look like very much. It is a rub. This is still classified as a dry rub, so you're just going to rub it on.
Okay, Isaac.
You want to put it on both sides. You okay, Isaac?
What? Yeah.
It's time for tips with Kitchen Wizard. Have you ever looked at your tinfoil and wondered, gee gosh, golly, my tinfoil is too narrow? I've got just the tip for you. Here's how you do it. You lay one layer on top of another. You fold it. Make sure that crease is nice and even the whole way across. Then you fold it on top of itself again. Notice how I folded it and then I folded that fold in half. Now that's complex. Then, guess what you do? One last fold. Oh gee golly. Kitchen Wizard, what's happening right now? Well, you see, you just doubled the width of your foil.
Wow, actually though, that's impressive.
You're going to smear the excess from your fingers to the inside. Because
Now, keep in mind that this is not meat juice. This is actually the stuff you put on top of the meat. So it's meat spread, not meat juice.
What
it's
do you
going to
mean?
go thusly and go thusly. If you've done it correct, then this is probably going to be pretty easy.
Imagine it's a tent, but it's very long.
Fold it in half, or not in half. You fold it, make sure that your crease is nice. Fold it again. Fold it again.
Watch for this one. Folds the other side.
Both other sides.
Well, that was the plot twist.
And then, I always do this because I don't want it to leak anywhere. Now, I have a tear here. That is now watertight and ready for the fridge. You're going to put this in the fridge overnight. You probably want it in there at least 10 hours.
My turn. This is the part where it becomes Isaac's cooking show and not the Kitchen Genie's cooking show again.
Wizard.
Kitchen Wizard, sorry. What we do is we take the tin foil, we fold it thusly, as he said multiple times. So hopefully we should have a very
Watertight seal.
watertight.
Now, we can test it by adding water.
Let's test this.
Oh! Make sure it's flat.
It's good, don't worry. You lay
Yes!
it flat. You lay it flat. Okay.
I'm a good cooker.
Water.
Normally, I would try to be wearing gloves, and by normally I mean I would never try to be wearing gloves because it's hard to find non-latex gloves.
Careful. Bring it over.
No blood, no meat juice.
The longer you let it sit there,
I did it. Like this. And then... Oh, we got a pear in mine as well.
Right there.
Oh, mine is like a
baby?
long baby.
A child.
just lay it directly on top of mine, and we'll stick it in the fridge.
I know how we're gonna do
Ow.
this.
Don't do an X. Don't do an X.
Why?
You can do an X, but it's gonna hurt. Oh, like the X-Men. Yes.
He knows this song. I got meat on my hands.
I know. I was handing it to you.
Oh, no, not yet.
Okay.
Now we need to cook the ribs, and cooking the ribs is the most essential part of making ribs because you don't want to eat a raw rib because I've done that before and it is very bad for your internal health and they don't taste as good. So we're gonna cut to other meat right now. You can see them right there. We are just going to throw those in the roaster at 275 for a little while. And we're gonna leave them there. And I guess this is the perfect segue to...
Oh!
taking them out. I can't write when I'm kneeling down, so that's what we're gonna do next, and we're gonna eat the ribs. I'm glad you could join me on our rib making adventure. Obviously, more ribs is better than no ribs, but if you're unable of getting ribs, that's fine. Just watch the video and don't cook alongside me, but I do recommend that you make these ribs for yourself, especially if you're a rib fan of any kind. So, that should be all for this week's episode of Isaac's Cooking Show, and I'll see you all next week. Wait, no, that was not enough to fill out the proper runtime. So we need to do something else. What can we do? I got it. We can do a roast. So if we come over, let's just turn it upside down. Roast on this week's episode of Cooking Show. How, Isaac, is what you're saying? How do I create this beautiful piece of roast meat that you are allowing me to create in my roaster? Brilliant question. So, I don't know. Can't be that hard. So first we just have to get a roast. So, because I'm new to this, maybe we should try something small. Big meat. We're gonna cook this in the roaster as well, but
Apparently we're gonna put a rub on it or something. Not sure how that works.
so we've got our kitchen wizard here to help us as well. Now the trick to this is you want to stay up late so you can cook it so it can go all day. So we're going at 12:30 because we've got a 20-pound roast here, or close enough at least. So this is gonna be cooking for a long time. Oh yeah, I'm standing.
I know.
Let me just shrink again. So a roast, what you need to do is you need to buy a roast, which we did buy a roast, and then what you need to do after you buy it, you procure the roast through legal means. Then you cook. No, do not yet cook the roast. Next you roast, rub. You rub the roast. So I'm gonna keep my voice down because Mom's asleep in there, but pretty much what we're going to do is we're going to be putting all this into a bowl, rubbing it on our meats, and putting our meats in the roaster for the foreseeable future. That's going on in there. Throw this away. Meat tenderizer, and put some of this in there. Are you going to tell me when to stop?
I'll just let you stop whenever. See, here's the thing. I've never cooked a roast this big before. Mom said for Mother's Day she would like a 20-pound roast.
Oh yeah, by the way, it's Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Paprika.
So this is what, 2 cups?
Dark brown sugar. Yeah.
I'll save this much.
Just dump the rest of your ginger in. Grab cumin.
Yeah, cumin you're gonna want about a tablespoon.
Lots of this. You know what? I'll just
Did you put a lot of paprika?
I did put a lot of paprika in.
Okay, good.
Minced onion.
I'm totally leaving out the rosemary.
Not yet, or not?
Do I use a lot of this?
No, you don't need much of that. Just it's there for the,
Flavor?
to make it look like we know what we're doing.
There we go. Garlic powder.
Yeah.
Iodized, because we don't have kosher salt. Oh, I didn't see that.
Just dump all that in.
Rosemary. Gonna take that much? We're gonna just dump it in there.
Black pepper, you
Black
want
pepper.
like a tablespoon or a tablespoon and a half.
Preferably.
So this is gonna be what I call the not so dry rub because the butter is gonna melt down.
We're not
and
gonna do anything with the
caramelize.
oil.
Oh, we are.
Okay, good.
So here's one last thing. If you're gonna be doing a
It's
rub,
just like that big.
if you're gonna be doing a rub on a roast beast, you really should, when you put it in the roaster, cook it with the fat up. The problem is, This butcher decided he'd be hilarious and pack an even amount of meat on both sides. Look at that. It's actually 2 roasts.
It's 2 roasts.
Never mind.
That butcher is a funny butcher.
Isaac, glug. 1 glug.
I'm bad at glugging.
There's 1 glug. There's 2 glugs. Grab that in. You can take your hand and scoop it in.
I don't want to do that.
I didn't film it, but the serious look on his face.
There you go. Just take that rub and rub it on there. But your meat hand.
A little bit drippy.
Isaac.
Okay.
Oh. Yep, we gotta clean that cabinet.
What cabinet?
Oh, we gotta clean that too.
So after you roast your rub, you rub the roast, then you cook it. Cook it. Meat is done. Put it in last night at 1 o'clock, and now it's like 5:30. So that's good. But you want to let it sit for 15 minutes once you take it out, at least. You tasting it?
It's a pig.
It's a pig. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of the roasts out, and we're gonna leave it here. We're gonna take the other roast out, and that's what we're gonna eat for dinner. Oh, I don't have my apron.
There's like steam galore when you open these things. Oh, it's not steam.
That's because we've already opened it a few times. We turned it off a couple times.
Look at that beaut.
So.
Is some meat.
That is some meat. Oh, it looks very black on camera.
I think that might be the one we want to take.
The meat is so soft that that it will fall apart when we're taking it out of there. That is very good. Yes, take a bite.
That's really good.
It's really good. That's like really good.
Wow.
That's like really good. Okay.
We're going back to you. So now that we've sufficiently padded out the runtime, that's all for Isaac's cooking show this week. We'll go back to Couch Isaac. Thank you for joining me on a very special episode of Isaac's cooking show that very easily met the criteria in required length for my producers to air it. Thank you for watching the show. I haven't slept in days.